I've lived a pretty normal life. Well, normal from my standards. I've been healthy-ish. I mean, most of my life. Never really been in the hospital since my mom birthed me into the world. I've broken my collarbone because I ran in a circle too many times and fell down on the ground from dizziness. I was 3, by the way. Not the current age I am now. I've had my wisdom teeth removed a couple summers ago. It was misery. I've even rolled my ankle on my 20th birthday. If it were my 21st, alcohol would have made this story a lot funnier. Also, I've had the awful, horrible knowledge of experiencing an enema. For those of you that don't know that, well, look it up. What's kind of funny, though, I mean, not in a ha-ha way, is that most of these health issues kind of happened at the worst possible time. For instance, my wisdom teeth came out during my first 2 weeks of work. Guess who didn't get paid? And the enema situation, or the enema story, as it's been referred to, happened during a weekend where one of my childhood friends was losing her mother. Horrible, I know. So, when I say that I've had a very interesting line of health issues, believe me, when I say that they're interesting, the one that I'm sharing with you probably was the scariest experience I've ever had, health-wise. Here we go. Picture yourself sitting at a table, and you're talking to your father, or your parent, it doesn't matter. It's not really anything interesting, probably just how your day was. Now imagine slowly, and without warning, your right ear feeling like cotton is being shoved into it from the inside. That was the beginning of my ordeal. At first I thought it was my tinnitus acting up. Tinnitus, for those of you who are unfamiliar, is that ringing, high-pitched whine that you get in your ear. I'm used to random bouts of tinnitus, but they last less than a minute. Anyways, after a couple of days, it wasn't going away, so we decided it was swimmer's ear. My parents just decided to go to an ENT, because I kind of made it vocal that I wasn't exactly hearing everything okay, and I wanted to, just kind of get it over with, because it was driving me up the wall. We get to the office, and we're greeted by this really young guy. His name was Dr. French. He takes a look at me, asks me the basic questions: do you do this, do you listen to loud music, do blah blah blah. Well, he says that it's basic procedure for me to sit in a booth and have a hearing exam. They put me in the booth, and they put these earbuds in my ears. It's yellow earbuds. I can't hear anything outside of these earbuds. I could only hear the woman on the other side of the glass. She's talking to me. She goes, "All right, we're gonna play some tones and see how you do." So the first part of the test is, can you hear it? It's not in any ear specifically, it's playing in both. So what you do is you answer with I hear it, or no, or whatever. And then you have the other part, which is specific. So my left ear is hearing extremely well, but my right ear, and that's where things got a little frightening, and I'd notice the woman looking at me, and she would go, "Did you not hear that?" And I could only just sit there and just go, "No, I can't, I didn't hear that. Did you play it?" It had been less than 3 days since that cotton feeling. They took me back to Dr. French's office, and he checked out my ears again. Nothing. We, to this day, still aren't sure what happened. We had a good theory, which was that I had a cold a couple days before, and it was on its way out. but somehow it might have moved up into my ear. And because my immune system's trying to defend my body attacked my ear and damaged it severely. So the only plan that we had, it was very dangerous and extremely stupid. A 3-week course of steroids. The first thing we did was move me into a different room, and he set me down. And he says, lay back. So I lay back. And then he goes, turn your head on the ear that you can hear. So I turn my head on the left side so that my right ear is exposed. He took a long, hair-thin needle filled with this steroid, and he injected me right into my eardrum. I get this ice pick feeling in my neck, and it's running down my neck, and it didn't go away for hours. And then there was an immediate sensation that I had a latex glove in my mouth. Like I could taste and smell a latex glove. It was the weirdest thing. For the next 3 days, I was put on 600 milligrams of a particular steroid. The next 3 weeks of my treatment, they were interesting. My body was a playground of caveman-esque hunger, fiery rage, and some other idiotic adjective that I'm going to let you think of to describe the problems that I had pooping. I remember that I was standing in a Target during day 2 of my treatment. All of a sudden, my stomach was sending a screaming message to my brain. If you don't eat something right now, I will eat myself! I left that Target like an Olympian sprinter, and I drove straight to the nearest Zaxby's. I proceeded to eat the left side of the menu. And then I ate the actual left side of the menu. There was also my emotions. There was one instance where I stubbed my toe on a little wooden table. I was so mad that I blacked out, and by the time I woke up, it was splinters. Now, when I say I had problems pooping, I don't mean that I couldn't poop. I've had that before. I couldn't stop pooping. It was crazy. Every time I went to the bathroom, I'd be in there 10, 20 minutes till I was completely empty, which is not a great feeling. And then I would walk back over to the couch, sit down, and then I'd have to go again. Gatorade, stool hardeners, and huge Viking-esque meals were my daily routine. For 3 weeks. I'm pretty sure that I was in hell. Religions are wrong, all of them. Damnation comes in the form of being single, angry, hungry, and with no real bowel control. To tell you the truth, if life had a face, I wanted to pay Bruce Lee to punch it right in the face. During that 3-week period, I was reminded of the statistic that I was told, and I had several outcomes, hypothetically. One was that this wouldn't work at all. The second was I had like a little bit more than 50% chance of getting some of my hearing back. And then there was the option that did end up happening, which was that I got my hearing back. But I tend to look at things realistically, and I was hopeful, but at the same time, I was realistic. I couldn't help but feel afraid. Had visions of myself picking out hearing aids, having to adjust to life. People would look at me differently. So I started out 600 for 3 days, 500 for 3 days, and so on until I got to the last 3 days of 100, and that was it. And then when I finished those last 3 days of 100, it coincided with my last injection treatment on that 3rd week. Almost all of my hearing was restored. Well, except for like one bass pitch, but it came back eventually. It just took longer. I was just relieved that I had made it out. Like, my life had never been so great, because my mind, my emotions, and my bowels were back to normal. You know, my family was relieved, but I think the person that was stressed the most during this ordeal was my sister. My sister's death. Yeah, I forgot to mention that until this point, but it wasn't important. Sydney, my sister, was born with a virus that my mother had contracted and was passed on to her. And it damaged her hearing during her developmental stages, so she's been deaf for practically her whole life. I don't think I would have minded having a hearing aid. I would have gotten used to it. I don't even think it's a handicap, really, because I see my sister, the way she operates, and I don't think she has any issues. But I guess Sydney just didn't want that for me. There's still some bad news, and it's something I'm going to have to live with. This means that when I get older, I know which ear is going to end up going full-blown deaf first. That's what I have to get used to. So I guess what I'm saying is you need to take care of yourselves. You only get one of these bodies, and they can break really easily. And sometimes it's not even you that breaks it. You might have something like I have. Well, I think that wraps up the story. I hope you enjoyed listening to it. I'm going to go back to living my life. My normal, fat, poop-obsessed life.